Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Namaskar.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram Chaiva
Chaiva
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim
Devyasam
Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayamudi
Jayam Udiyayet
Srinvatam Swakataha Krishna
Srimad
Srimatan Sarvastam
Krishna
Krishna
Yashravana Kirtanam
Punyasravana
Punyasravana Kirtana
Hridyantasto hi abhadrani
Pratyanta
Hridyantasto hi
Vatsani
abhadyani
vidhunote sihritsatam
Vidunoti
Vidyanati
Sukratatam
Sukratatam
nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu
Nashtapraya
Nastapayeshu Abhadesu
nityam bhagavata sevaya
Nityam
Nityam Bhagavata
Bhagavate
Sevaya
bhagavati uttama shloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate Uttama Sloke
bhaktir bhavati nayishtiki
Bhakti
Bhagavati
Bhavati Naistikli
krishnaya vasudevaya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
devaki nandanaya cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
nandagopakumaraya
Nanda
Nanda
Gopa
Gopa
Kumaraya
Kumaraya
govindaya namo namaha.
Govindaya
Govindaya
Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Hare Krishna, everyone. We'll continue the fifth chapter, the cause of all causes. Who is the cause of all causes? Krishna. Yeah. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. So in this chapter, we saw Narada's questions about creation, which Brahma would answer. Brahma is considered the creator for all the material existence. So in the last discussion, we went over the first 8 verses, where Narada expressed some of his doubts and he asked 6 questions. So these are the 6 questions. What are the characteristics of material existence, material creation, and what is the adhisthana, means what is the shelter, what is the background for it, where is it this material elements take shelter, how is it created, and then how is it preserved or conserved, and what does it depend on, material creation, what is the dependence for it, and what is it composed of. So these are the questions asked by Narad Muni, who is the son of Brahmaji. So now we'll and he also expressed anybody who sees about creation, who at least my personal experience is that from my childhood I have seen you are the one who is creating everything. So he says you are the supreme independent Lord. Narada, even though he knows in truth what is the truth of creation, he still speaks like that. He gives the example of a spider, how spider at its own will it creates the whole web, and at its own will it can also wind it up. So similarly Brahma creates everything. So he just speaks about his pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means his direct observation. So for my eye, I don't see anybody else participating in the process of creation. So as far I am concerned, there is no other source other than you. That is what he said. But then he asks one doubt. Okay, if you are the source of creation, you are the one who controls all the material existence and its existence, its creation. Why do you have to perform austerities? So it means that there must be someone more powerful than you. I want to know more about that. Hmm? So that's where we left. We will continue. Text 9. So after hearing the questions of Narada Muni, Brahma starts answering the questions about creation. First of all, he is extremely pleased for the questions because it gives the opportunity to speak about the Supreme Lord. And great devotees always look for opportunity to speak about the Supreme Lord. So in that spirit, Brahmaji first expresses his gratitude to his son, and then he continues to answer them in the next verses about the process of creation. Brahma Vacha
Brahmavacha
Samyak Karunikashyedam
Samyak karunikasyetam
Samyakshyam
Vatsate Vichikitsitam
vatsate vichikitsitam
Satam
Aham Chodita Saumya
yadaham chodita saumya
Saumya
Bhagavad Virya Darshane.
bhagavat virya darshane.
Bhagavad
Bhagavad Virya Darshane means you are letting me speak about the Virya means the powerful, the power, the supreme power. So in the matter of Supreme Lord, I am able to speak because of your questions. That is what he's saying. Yeah. Please, anyone read?
Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Narad, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see you into the prowess of the Almighty personality of Godhead."
Yeah. So he said, being merciful to all. So it is not that, like we discussed in the last week, it is not that Narada doesn't know. Narada knows very well about, in fact, he is the one who inspires everybody else to take shelter of Supreme Lord. He inspired Prahlad Maharaj. He inspired Dhruv Maharaj to take Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Right? He asked him to chant. In this way, he preaches to everyone to chant the holy name of Lord and take shelter of the Lord. But here he asks Brahmaji, as far as I see, you are the one who creates everything. The reason is, like we discussed, he does what is needful, Narada Muni. It doesn't matter if people think that he doesn't understand. Oh, Narada doesn't know about who is the original creator. He doesn't mind if anybody feels like that. Because he is a devotee of Lord, he knows his job and he does it, irrespective of what others think of it, right? Devotees are like that. We have seen in the life of Bhishma. He knows very well the Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna, he is there, but he sides with Kauravas. Why does he do that? Because he wants to show that if you are on the wrong side, even though you are a great warrior, still you will be defeated. You want to, if you are opposite to the Supreme Lord, you will not be spared. So in that way, they don't mind. Great devotees, they go through illusion. Similarly, Arjuna. So one of the verses in the beginning of, towards the end of first canto, we saw Lord uses them as malleable instruments in spreading the message. All these great devotees. Occasionally, we must misunderstand their abilities or their character, but it doesn't matter for them. They perform their duty. Yeah. Continue, Prabhu.
Brahmaji, being so questioned by Naradji, congratulated him for it is usual for the devotee to become very enthusiastic whenever they are questioned concerning the Almighty Personality of Godhead. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Such discourses on the transcendental activities of the Lord purify the atmosphere in which such discussions are held, and the devotees thus become enlivened while answering such questions. It is purifying both for the questioners and for the one who is answering the questions. The pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but also eager to broadcast the information to others. For they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus, the devotee feels satisfied when such opportunity is offered to him. This is the basic principle of missionary activities.
Hmm. So the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him to glorify the Supreme Lord. So similarly, Brahmaji, who is our Sampradaya Guru, he was also extremely satisfied and grateful for these questions because it is purifying both for questioners and for one who answers the questions. Yeah. So they are not just satisfied with knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others. Or they want to see the glories of Lord are known to everyone. So this is the desire. This is the reason devotees preach, even at the cost of their life. We have seen Prahlad Maharaj. He wouldn't stay silent. He would go and preach to his demonic friends. Kaumaraj Acharit Prajna. So this is the nature of devotees. We have seen in the life of Srila Prabhupada. He could have just stayed in Vrindavan writing books. That is also fulfilling the mission of his spiritual master. But he took the risk of life, faced 2 heart attacks and seasickness, and robbed once he goes to the harbor of Boston, and went through so many challenges. Nobody was attending classes. He doesn't have money to pay next month rent. No place to take, no place to shelter himself in a foreign country where nobody understands his language. Still, he took the risk of life for the mission of his Guru, mission of Lord. This is the spirit of a pure devotee. It's the same. It's the same thing happening thousands of years ago and even now. Even Jesus Christ is in the same spirit, right? He wouldn't mind losing his life. Yeah. Nandritam tava tachapi
Nanritam tava tachapi
yatha mam prabravishi bho
yatam pravishito
avignaya param matta
avignaya
Avignaya
paramata
Paramata
yetavat tvam yato hime.
yetavatvam
Yatavatam
yatohi me.
Yohime.
Please read the translation.
Whatever you have spoken about me is not false, because unless and until one is aware of personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate truth beyond me, one is sure to be illusioned by the observing of powerful activities.
Observing my powerful activities. Narada being his son, he has direct witness of his father's prowess in the process of creating the material existence of the 14 planetary systems. So it is natural, he says that, if until one is aware of the personality of Godhead, avignaya paramatta, yatatvam yatohime. Avignaya, without knowing, right? Unless one knows about the Supreme Lord, it is easy that he can be illusioned to understand that I am also supremely powerful, right? Even like we all, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we all thought, there are three primary lords. One is Brahma for creation, Vishnu for maintenance, and Lord Shiva for destruction. That is how our understanding. Three parallel gods. That's how at least my understanding was. So similarly, most people will understand like that because they don't know about the Supreme Lord being the source. So that's what Brahma is saying. He's not saying I'm also independent Lord. He's saying until one knows about the Supreme Lord, one may, observing my, creation process, one may think that I am the, I am also an ultimate truth. He's just saying that. So, and he says that is an illusion. See, thinking that Brahma is also Supreme Lord is an illusion. Yeah.
The frog in the well logic illustrates that the frog residing in the atmosphere and boundary of well cannot imagine the length and breadth of the gigantic ocean. Such a frog, when informed about the gigantic length and breadth of the ocean, first of all does not believe that there is such an ocean. And if someone assumes him that the factually there is such thing, the frog then begins to measure it by imagination by means of pumping its belly as far as possible, with the result that the tiny abdomen of the frog bursts and the poor frog dies without any experience of the actual ocean. Similarly, the material scientists also want to challenge the inconceivable potency of the Lord by measuring him with their frog like brains and their scientific achievement, but all at the end, they simply die unsuccessfully like the frog.
Yeah.
Sometimes a materially powerful man is accepted as a god or the incarnation of the god without any knowledge of the factual god. Such a material assessment may be gradually extended and the attempt may reach to the highest limit of Brahmaji, who is the topmost living being within the universe and has a duration of the life unimaginable to the material scientist.
So here, Prabhupada in the first paragraph gives the example of frog in a well, which we all know. Basically, frog only knows the boundary of the well, and it imagines anything beyond that, like an ocean, to be something like a multiple of the size of the ocean, of the well, because he can only imagine to that level, and he tries to pump his belly to show how big the ocean would be, but he can never understand it. So what Prabhupada is trying to say is, if you only go by direct perception, you are limited by what your understanding can reach. Because material scientists, their instruments are gross and physical, which has limited capability. The knowledge is acquired through the five senses, and even if you use Anuman, which is an extension of the knowledge received by the direct five senses, it will also, it's again limited by the four material defects, right? We all have the four defects. Our senses are limited, and because they are limited, you go through illusion, and therefore, because you go through illusion, you commit mistakes, and you cover up, right? So any material endeavor will have these four limitations. So just like by observing, we cannot say what is the truth. We have to hear from authority. That is when we know the ultimate truth. So here Narada was speaking. My observation says you are the supreme because I have only seen you being the creator of all the existence. So that Prabhupada clarifies and teaches about scientific observation here. So another important concept Prabhupada touched here is, sometimes people may consider, maybe historically 5,000 years ago, there was a powerful man known as Krishna, and he thought many good things. So this is called anthropomorphism, means assigning divinity to a powerful human. But that is not the fact. Hmm? Uh, Krishna is not a human, powerful human, represented as God, right? So even Brahmaji himself accepts that there is a higher personality to me, right here. Like anthropomorphism means, anyone knows the definition of anthropomorphism? Anyone want to attempt? It is the like in Christianity there is this saying, right? Man is made.
Yeah, so Prabhuji, it's basically, you
Hmm.
know, how we are originated. Anthropology basically deals with human beings.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
like it deals with human beings or some connection to
Hmm.
animals or something like that, right? So anthro means which is
Yeah,
related
right.
to
Hmm. So
almost.
in Christianity there is a saying called, man is made in the image of God. Man has a form because God has a form. Anthropomorphism is exact opposite of it. Man is made in the image of God, so God is made in the image of man. Means they ascribe divinity to a human being because of his powerful qualities, which is basically a speculative understanding of God, right? So sometimes because people lack scriptural wisdom, they accept some powerful human being as God, right? But it is never the case, right? Prabhupada latter gives a very good example for that. Yeah, I will get there. Yeah, let's continue this. Yeah, continue, Prabhu.
The questions may be asked why Naraji was not aware of the Supreme Lord and why he misconceived the Brahmaji to be the Supreme Lord, although factually he was not. A liberated soul is never bewildered by such mistaken ideas. So why did Naraji ask all those questions just like an ordinary man with a poor fund of knowledge? There was such a bewilderment in Arjuna also, although he is eternally the associate of the Lord. As such, bewilderment in Arjuna or in Narada takes place by the will of the Lord, so the others, non-bewildered persons, may realize the real truth and the knowledge of the Lord. The doubt arising in the mind of Narada and Brahmaji, becoming all powerful, is a lesson for the frogs in the well, that they may not be bewildered in misconceiving the identity of the personality of Godhead, even by comparison to a personality like Brahma. So, what to speak with ordinary men who falsely pose themselves as a god or as an incarnation of God?
Hmm. Yeah, I think we discussed this one a little while ago. Yeah, yeah. Now is the answer. Go ahead, Prabhu.
If we scrutinize the characters who took part in the battle of the Kurukshetra, we may find that the Maharaja Yudhishthir was no less pious king than the Lord Ramchandra, and by character study of Maharaj Yudhishthir was better moralist than the Lord Krishna. The Lord Krishna asked Maharaj Yudhishthir to lie, but the Maharaja Yudhishthir protested. But that does not mean that the Maharaja Yudhishthir could be equal to the Lord Ramchandra or Lord Krishna. The great authorities have estimated Maharaja Yudhishthir to be a pious man, but they have accepted Lord Rama or Krishna as the personality of Godhead. The Lord is therefore different identity in all circumstances, and no idea of anthropomorphism can be applied to him.
Hmm. So divinity cannot be ascribed. It is revealed. It's a different truth. So even though Yudhishthira Maharaj can be considered, equally good a leader as much as Lord Rama, and some people can also say he is a more moralist than Lord Krishna, but that doesn't make him equal to Lord or even Lord is different. Lord is Lord, and we cannot use the idea of anthropomorphism to ascribe divinity to any personality, human especially. Lord is always Lord, and a common living entity can never be equal to him. Yeah. So the whole idea of anthropomorphism is material completely. Yena swarochisa vishwam
Yena
Vishwam
rochitam rochayamyaham
Rochitam Rochayamyaham
yatharko agniryatha somo
Yatarko Agniryata Somo
Taksha grahataraka.
Yatarksha Grahataraka.
Now he will show his humility. Yeah, please read.
I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence known as the Brahma Jyoti. Just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness.
So he's now talking about, so I am just a secondary creator. Just like when sun manifests sunlight, all the other luminaries like moon, fire, they all acquire their original source of power from sun, and they also show some power as a secondary like secondary source of this heat and light. So the power of creation I have as a secondary creator is also manifest from the original source, which is Lord Krishna. So that is what it means. So I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence. So Brahmajyoti is the Lord's personal effulgence. That is the source of all creation, all, at least the Sarga part, which is the elemental creation. And then after that, I do the secondary creation, which is the Visarga part, specific manifestations of all the 14 planetary systems. So I am like the secondary creator, just like moon or other fire elements take the energy from the source, which is sun, and then also exhibit those powers. Yeah. So this is, of course, it's not easy to do secondary creation also. It requires divine empowerment. And Lord specifically empowered Lord Brahma. He first created him through his navel and empowered him to perform the activity of creation. Without that he cannot do it. Without that empowerment he wouldn't be able to do that. But still, he, out of humility, he speaks like that. So sometimes when devotees speak, they will speak very humbly. It does not reduce their actual contribution. So when we hear about devotees, in their own words, sometimes out of their humility they may speak, like here in Brahma's case, right? So that does not reduce the value of work they did. So we should be careful in understanding, especially when devotees speak, whether they are speaking out of humility, so that we don't misunderstand their contribution. So that's a practical lesson we can take from this, in the words of Lord Brahma. Yeah, please read.
Lord Brahmaji said to Narada that his impression that Brahma was not the supreme authority in the creation was correct. Sometimes less intelligent men have the foolish impression that Brahma is the cause of all causes. But Narada wanted to clear the matter by the statements of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe. In this verse, Brahmaji clears up the wrong impression held by the less intelligent and affirms that he creates the universal variegatedness after the creation by the glaring effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Brahmaji has also separately given this statement in the Samhita known as the Brahma Samhita 5.40, where he says, I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental bodily effulgence known as the Brahma Jyoti which is unlimited, unfathomed, and all-pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited numbers of planets, etc., with varieties of climates and specific conditions of life.
So devotees don't take any credit. So here we can see Brahmaji. So in this verse, Yasha Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti. So it's very famous Brahma Samhita verse. So in this he say, I just serve Supreme Lord, and He is the one who creates through His Brahma Jyoti unlimited and unfathomable creation of unlimited number of planets. So this is the nature of devotees. Yeah, just read this one.
One should not expect the Lord to create like a blacksmith with a hammer and other instruments. The Lord creates by His potencies. He has His multifarious potencies. Parashashaktir vividhaiva shruyate. Just as the small seed of a banyan tree has the potency to create a big banyan tree, the Lord disseminates all varieties of seeds by His potent Brahma Jyoti, Swarochisha, and the seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. Brahma cannot create the seeds, but he can manifest the seed into a tree, just as a gardener and orchards to grow by the watering process. All luminaries in the sky are creations of the sun. The sun is the creation of the Brahma Jyoti, and the Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence of the Lord. Thus, the ultimate cause of
ultimate cause of creation is the Lord. Yeah. So from Lord comes Brahma Jyoti, the Brahman effulgence. From Brahman effulgence comes all these luminaries, they take the energy and reflect. Like sun, from sun comes all the other energies. Can you all hear me? I lost Mataji suddenly. Can
Yes.
anybody?
Yeah, hear you. We can hear you, Prabhuji.
We can hear Prabhu.
So this is a beautiful purport, and we can clearly see. So we can also see why Lord empowers a personality like Brahmaji, because they are pure devotees. Lord puts very great devotees in responsible positions. If we can see, like Hiranyakashipu, who was empowered by Brahmaji, right? He did tapasya, but as soon as he got empowered, he did he just did whimsically acted, right? Lord would never empower a person like Hiranyakashipu to take care of the process of creation. He will empower a person who is a humble devotee like Brahma. He just attributes all of his powers to Lord, right? We can see in this example here. So similarly, he empowers Pandavas. We can see throughout history, we see such characters who are empowered. Even I just remembering Yamaraj. Yamaraj is a Mahajan, a great devotee. Right? In the 6th canto, we can see how he glorifies the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And Lord puts such a person as the in charge of taking care of all the sinful people. And if a person like Yamaraj is not compassionate, the punishment is going to be very bad, and he can be very what do you call this? It can be very ruthless. Lord puts such a person who is a Mahajan, a great devotee, in a very responsible position, like taking care of all the sinful people. So we can see in that example as well. Lord puts greatest devotees in highly responsible positions. Even Mother Durga, right? Mother Durga is also like that. She's taking care of all the jivas in the material existence. Through the energy of illusory potency, Mother Durga, right? even she is a great devotee of the Lord. Tasmai namo bhagavate
Tasmai namo
Namo
bhagavate
Bhagavate
vasudevaya dhimahi
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Dhimahi
dhimahi
Janmayaya durjayaya
Yanmayaya
Yanmaya
Durjayaya
Durjayaya
Amvadati jagadgurum
Mamvadati
Amvadati
Jagadgurum.
Jagadgurum.
I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them, the less intelligent class of men, to call me the supreme controller.
I offer my, see, whose invincible potency, the metal illusion, the Mahamaya, Janmayaya, influences the less intelligent man to call me the Supreme Lord. Right? He's just paying his obeisances. And he's not accepting himself as Supreme. He's just saying, you know, only people influenced by illusion call me as Supreme Lord. So what does it mean? It means that if we worship any demigod or anybody other than the Supreme Lord as the Supreme, those personalities actually think we are under illusion. They don't feel happy, right? We all, you know, accept people who are under illusion. Like sometimes Indra becomes illusioned, thinking that he's the controller, like in the Govardhana, you know, Leela pastime. At that time, he misunderstood himself to be the controller, right? So that's why he felt upset with the Brajavasis. But otherwise, in general, devotee in proper Krishna consciousness, you know, especially the representatives of the Lord, like Yamaraj or Brahmaji, they don't want anybody to become their followers. Unlike in today's world, there are many great gurus who consider themselves to be God. They don't mind others calling them God. But Brahmaji is not like that. He's actually speaking the truth. He's saying, only out of illusion, people call me as the Supreme. Right? Yeah.
As will be more clearly explained in the next verse, the illusionary potency of the Lord bewilders the less intelligent to accept Brahmaji, or for that matter, any other person as the Supreme Lord.
So there, most personalities, if you worship independently, like some people only worship Hanumanji as everything. Even that they don't like. The devotees don't like that. You should worship him as the supreme devotee of the Lord, or the best devotee of the Lord. That is how they will, you know, they would feel comfortable. Otherwise, it's embarrassment for them. It's like, for example, suppose in your town there is, you know, one day Prime Minister comes. Along with that, your local MLA is also there. And you were asked to speak about, you know, the guests of the day, and you start praising your MLA, and the Prime Minister is on the side. Will he be comfortable? The MLA is very embarrassed, right? So that's exactly how, if you worship, you know, some like this Baba or that Baba, or that's how, you know, if they are sincere devotees, they'll be very uncomfortable. We should not worship them. Yeah.
A responsible personality like Brahmaji refuses to be addressed as the Supreme Lord by his disciples or subordinates. But foolish persons praised by men of the nature of gods, hogs, camels, and asses feel flattered to be addressed as the Supreme Lord. Why such persons take pleasure in being addressed as God, or why such persons are addressed as God by foolish admirers, is explained in the following verse.
Brahmaji doesn't stop there. He will clarify everything now.
Hmm.
Vilajyamanaya yasya
Vilajyamanaya
Vilajyamana yasya
statum ikshapate muya
Datum
Atam Ikshapate Maya
Vimohita Vikattante
Mohita Vikatante
Mamaham iti durdiya.
Maham Iti Dutiyam.
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful verse. Please read.
The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position, but those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it's mine. It is mine.
Hmm.
Can I continue?
One second. So illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position, but those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense. What does it mean? So how do you know a person is in illusion? It is known by the words they speak. And predominantly in their words, there will be aham and mama, means they will always speak in reference to themselves in whatever they speak. If that means that false ego is very strong. So Mother Durga herself doesn't feel comfortable showing her face to the Supreme Lord. Reason being, she always tries to keep who are unqualified in the middle situation for as long as they are in that state of consciousness. It's a thankless job, but she's doing that. And for that, of course, it is the duty given by Lord. For that reason, she is this thankless job of keeping all the illusioned living entities in the middle existence. She doesn't want to show her face, but those who are illusioned by that illusion of the mother, they are very proud. They think they always speak in terms of I and mine. Okay, so I'll give a nice story here. So when Hiranyakashipu first time wanted to hear about the learnings of his son Prahlad, so he calls Shanda, Amarka, the teachers, and the son Prahlad. And Prahlad comes, sits in his lap, and Hiranyakashipu asks, "What did you learn?" And as you all know, he speaks about Lord as the supreme controller, for which Hiranyakashipu was surprised that he is learning all this. And immediately, he would laugh very loudly, as if it is, some slight mistake by the student or the teachers. So he would just laugh away for the time, saying, "Hey, make sure this Prahlad is going to learn right subjects. And I want to hear him again after some time," right? So that's what he says to the teachers, Shandamarka and Prahlad also. And they all leave. And Shandamarka will, even though at that time Hiranyakashipu was laughing and just forgiving them, they know very well if this thing repeats, that is the end of their life. So they are very careful, and once they take Prahlad to the school back to the ashram, so they would ask him, "Hey, who is the enemy who spoiled your mind? We never taught you about Supreme Lord or Vishnu or his activities or his capabilities. How are you speaking all those so fluently? Where did you learn all these subjects?" So at that time, Prahlad uses a specific word. He says, "Mind your tongue, my teachers." The reason is, when you speak, people can know who you are. So they use the word, who are those enemies who entered our ashram to teach you these subjects? Why does that matter? Because they are thinking in terms of enemies and friends. A Pandita is a person who he has a Samadarshana, means he doesn't see who is my friend, who is an enemy. But because Shanda Amarkars, despite being in the position of teachers or Panditas, they're speaking in terms of friends and enemies. So Prahalad immediately catches the words and he reverts back saying, you're speaking like a person in illusion. I'm just speaking because this is the context where the exact thing happened right here. This is the same thing that Brahma is saying. Only people who speak about I and mine, they are in illusion. So, and again, like Prahalad continues to be like a devotee only. He doesn't change. I'm just giving the context so that when a person speaks, whether he's illusioned or not, especially when he's self-absorbed, right? So that's the lesson here. Yeah. Please read. Please read, Mataji. You are muted.
I can
Sorry,
Yeah.
Prabhu, I could not unmute actually. Nonsense, nonsense is behind the
Nescience is Nescience.
Nescience is the behind the personality of Godhead, where she is powerful enough to mislead the living beings, and the primary symptom of bewildered persons is that they talk nonsense. Nonsensical talks are not supported by the principles of Vedic literatures, and first grade nonsense talk is it is I, it is mine. A godless civilization is exclusively conducted by such false ideas and such persons without any factual realization of Godhead, except a false god or falsely declare themselves to be God to mislead persons who are already bewildered by the deluding energy.
Yeah, deluding energy. So, especially in today's world, if you see, there is so much focus on individuals, right? Privacy, individuality. That is all basically illusion extended. It is I, it is mine. So there is too much focus on individual comfort and individual, right? It's called I and mine. What is it called? I consciousness. Yeah. Yeah. So that is all basically extended illusion.
Identification of bewildered person is distinctly given in this verse.
How do you know a person is bewildered? He speaks only in terms of I and mine. Of course, 99% of those people speak like that only. Yeah. Because they can't see things in totality, right? They can't see their connection with the Lord. Ideal Krishna conscious person is always God conscious, right? When you are always God conscious, you will see everything happening in your life. All things, all events, all people in your life, things, events, people, everything in relation to Krishna. You see, that is called Krishna consciousness. When you are disconnected from Krishna, you only speak from I and mine, as if you are alone in this existence, no connection with Krishna. So that is bewildered consciousness, illusory consciousness. Dravyam karma chakalascha.
Dravyam karma chakalascha
Abhavo jiva eva cha.
bhavo
Bhavo
jiva
jiva
eva
eva
cha
cha.
Vasudeve vat paro brahman.
Vasudeva
vasudeva
Brahman.
paro brahman
Achanyo ardhosti tatvata.
anyo
Tattvataha.
I can read, Prabhu. So the translation. The 5 elementary ingredients of creation, the interaction thereof, set up by eternal time, and institution or nature of individual living being are all differentiated parts and parcel of the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, and in truth there is no other value in them.
He now describes the actual, this is the answer to the first question. So if you remember the first question, in the, I think in the 8th verse or 7th verse, Yadrupam, what are the characteristics of the material existence? So he's now answering the first, very first questions out of the 6 questions. The 5 elementary ingredients of creation, the elements we know, right? So the 5 elements, earth, air, water, the interaction thereof set up by eternal time, and intuition of nature of, and the intuition or nature of individual beings are all differentiated parts and parcels of the supreme personality of God. This is basically, so like Krishna says in 7th chapter, all the elements come from me. Bhumirapo nalo vayu. It's the same thing. Vasudeva, in truth, there is no other value in them. There is nothing else of value. Everything is sourced in Krishna. Yeah.
Guruji, can I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, in last 2 verses, Vasudeva is called instead of Krishna. So, is there any significance of calling Vasudeva?
Vasudeva is generally used, for Supreme Lord, especially in reference to creation. It's the same, Vasudeva means the son of Vasudeva, right? Which is Lord Krishna himself.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
As for that's my understanding. I can check out more.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this is about creation. Yeah. So actually, I want to discuss one more thing. Besides this, let's spend some time. We'll continue this content next week. This is, now actual answers to the question about the 6 questions will be answered from here. So we'll discuss this from, this is a different section, 4,000 words. So we'll discuss next week. I just want to check one thing, which I personally benefited recently from. I wanted to share with you, and I just want to check with you all. How long does it take for you to chant the whole, 16 rounds? I hope everyone chants here 16 rounds. I want to understand how long does it take? You can answer, does it take 1.5 hours or 1 hour 45 minutes or 2 hours? You can, each of you can, just write down in chat or feel free to write down in chat or answer.
More than 2 hours, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel a difference when I do in the early morning. I feel like the focus is more the Brahma Muhurta time, like, especially before 6:30. I feel like I can finish in 1 hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But if it's in the daytime, it easily takes 2 hours.
Hours. Okay.
Yeah, same Prabhuji. Morning means I complete by 1.5 hour, and daytime means 2 hours.
Daytime 2 hours, yeah. Okay. And do you also walk and chant?
I used to do earlier,
Yes,
Prabhu, but I stopped now.
I do that, Prabhuji.
Yeah, after hearing Radheshyam Prabhu's that Brahma Muhurta chanting class, I try to sit and chant, Prabhu. I don't walk and chant because it gives more distractions.
Okay. Yeah, so I actually observed my chanting carefully last few days and weeks. So what I observed, few observations was, if I am walking and chanting, I notice that sometimes my hand goes fast, because how am I verifying whether I'm chanting properly or not was I'm keeping a video where parallelly Prabhupada was chanting, and there is a count that goes up, right? So what I observed was, when there is some addition, there is some, when I'm walking and chanting, there is a chance that I miss some of the beats. Means the hand goes fast. I couldn't still figure out exactly when it is happening. So there are moments when we are not fully focused on the holy name, right? We don't completely hear, and we are not conscious when we move the hand. And at the time, something is happening and the hand moves faster than the beats. And I see Prabhupada hasn't completed 108 for that round, and I have completed. Means maybe sometimes I have seen about 100, sometimes I have seen 95. So there is that, there is possibility, especially for those who chant in less than 1 hour 45 minutes. There is a chance, because I also chant around in 1 hour 30 minutes, around that. There is a chance that we might be missing some beats. There is a chance.
Prabhuji,
It depends on
Prabhuji,
individual speed.
that is really true, Prabhu. I noticed that also sometimes I feel that I'm just skipping 2 or 3 beats. So sometimes I was so irritated that I have to pull it back once again and redo once again.
Yeah. And it is
Yeah.
so, even when I'm 100% conscious, sometimes it is happening. It means that it's a very, because we have been doing this for say last 15 years, there is a strong habituation in our mind, and it's it was a hard wake up call, but that powerful, it's like Prabhupada helping us, that was extremely good. I recommend anybody to sit down with Prabhupada. It's like Prabhupada sitting with you and chanting. I'll share the video. I really was very happy, and you can see when you chant with Prabhupada all the 16 rounds, you can clearly see the difference in your consciousness. It's completely amazing. Ideal time, even with good speed, should be around 1 hour 50 minutes, 1 hour 50 to 2 hours. If anything less than that, you are able to finish, either you better chant 2 extra rounds, 2-3 extra rounds. There is a potential for missing or speeding up over the beats, right? That's what I mean. It might be that you are fully focused. I'm not generalizing my truth to all, but there is a good chance that we are unknowingly missing the beats. Okay. Just like, when you write code, you have a way to verify your code, right? With unit tests, but we don't have such a thing in chanting. We just accept what our mind says as we are done. Our beats say, we just believe that. We don't have a verification mechanism to say, hey, we really chanted with focus and attention and completed all our rounds as we originally planned for. So for me, that helped as a big tool. I will share in the YouTube.
So how do you, so you have a video, Prabhu, of Prabhupada chanting for one round, right?
Yeah.
One round he chants and
Not
you
one
chant.
round. Not one round. It is for entire 16 rounds. I'll show you the